crotch. He doesn't want to be
Exactly.
there.
But that is kind of the impact that DX had in the '90s. And kind of speaking of the '90s, we'll talk a little bit about our wrestling fandom. I'll let you go first and kind of talk about how you became a fan of the illustrious world of professional wrestling.
Absolutely, man. I was born into it. My father, my grandfather, and my uncle were always into wrestling. We were from Southern Maryland, and so while we watched like WWF, primarily it was WCW. So WCW Saturday night at my dad's apartment all the time. I would lay on my dad's back. My dad's a big guy. He's like he's like 6'2", 6'3". He was walking around about 250. Just lay on my dad's back, watching WCW Saturday night. But my parents got divorced really, really young. And so my mother was in the Air Force, but she also was an usher at what was the Capitol Center in DC back when I was growing up. So like I remember going to like a WWF house show and seeing like a Hogan Flair schmaz as like a little kid.
Oh,
and
wow.
So I was always into it, man. We, watched it while we lived there, moved to Wyoming. I used to go downstairs to the game room and watch every Monday night. Same thing when we got to Texas. So yeah, man, WWF, WCW, a lifer. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Do you have that first wrestling memory that you just remember more than anything else?
In person, it's definitely that house show. Like trying to pull a name out from WCW, man, probably William Regal, like genuinely, like some WCW Saturday Night William Regal, like that sounds like roughly what would have been kind of the first thing. Of course, the Monday Night Raws, in New York, that's what really sticks out. But like as like a fully formed, fully fledged thing, probably like Scott Hall coming out on Nitro is probably really, because I'm like 10, 11 at that point. Like that's probably like the start of, okay, something's really happening here. And as a matter of fact, as I say that, let me pull back. What I actually remember, it's still Scott Hall, but Razor Ramon on WWF Superstars on Saturday morning, man. I thought he was the coolest thing in the whole world.
He was.
Yeah, absolutely. And so much of what we're going to talk about, even if he was only indirectly involved, like he's a big part of, like if we're probably going to talk eventually if DX was actually cool, being like Michaels and Triple H being actually cool, but like whatever cool they have, that's influences by by Hall and the guy on this shirt here had a lot to do with that. But yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, and we'll get into whether DX was just kind of a rip-off of the NWO and stuff like that. That's awesome. I mean, Razor Ramon, he was like the ideal. You're flipping through the channels on Saturday morning and you see Razor Ramon with his orange or purple or green or black trunks. Man, he was the coolest.
Absolutely.
It's funny you mentioned that you lived in Wyoming. I actually live in Wyoming. I have my whole life.
Really? What part?
Casper.
Can you
Casper,
say?
Wyoming.
Okay, I lived in Cheyenne for 2 years. As a matter.
Okay, yeah. So you're at the Capitol, a couple hours away. Never really got a whole lot of wrestling shows as a kid. Like, it's Wyoming. We got a couple WCW Nitros. I remember that. And then we got in like the early 2000s, I think WWE came and had a house show where Triple H fought Kane. This was right around the Katie Vick era.
Okay.
Which was fun, but yeah, Wyoming did not get a whole lot of wrestling action. But that's okay because I still grew up as a fan. I remember, I was probably about 10 years old, flipping through the channels, and I bet you'll remember this. Do you remember the story where Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels were in the middle of the ring? Bret Hart was in the wheelchair, right? And he was just cutting a promo on Shawn Michaels, just cutting him up and down. Michaels eventually kicked him out of his wheelchair. You remember that?
Yes.
And for me, for 10-year-old Nick, like not knowing that pro wrestling was, predetermined or scripted, I was like, what just happened? This guy just kicked this poor handicapped man out of his wheelchair.
How dare
What
you?
is that? And I was hooked. I was hooked for life. It took me a few more months to like really become a regular viewer, but Man, just like you, I got in right when like the Monday Night Wars were heating up, and right when DX was kind of rising to the top of our television sets.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what brings us to this podcast, and I do want to talk a little bit. Obviously, we're talking about D-Generation X. If you can't tell by all the banners and all the logos and everything, and I wanted to talk about DX because it's not because people haven't talked about them before. Everybody has talked about DX, but if I was going to do a podcast, I wanted to do something about something that I was super passionate about. And I grew up with Shawn Michaels, Triple H. Shawn Michaels is my favorite wrestler of all time. I'm pretty sure he's one of yours as well. So kind of tell me, do you remember like your first time seeing DX and any memories of that?
Number one, I hate Shawn Michaels, and let me explain why.
Okay.
I don't think I've told you this story, Nick. I actually told Carmelo Hayes, and we had a really good laugh about it. So I grew up in San Antonio, Texas, where Shawn Michaels is from. Okay.
Sure.
We'll eventually get to the point on here where Shawn Michaels leaves, and then DX 2.0 happens. Now, in between that time, between Shawn Michaels leaving and coming back, he was born again and he found God, and that's fantastic. Before he found God, he found a football on the sidelines of one of my high school games, and he put it dead center on Maximum Sports because Shawn Michaels, in his hiatus, was working for our local Fox News station.
Right.
He put that football on live TV, and our coaches were so mad we had to run about it the next month.
Damn it, Shawn Michaels.
So
You know what? That's a good reason to hate
person
Shawn
in an
Michaels.
institution.
Okay, let me
No.
pause you. Hey guys, it's Cam Tackles Twitch. It's 2/11/23. It's 10:30 p.m. in Austin, Texas. It's been a minute. I hope everybody's well. A lot of stuff to talk about. I don't know. Sweetheart, can I get that glass of wine, please? Thank you so much. What's new with you guys? what's new on your end? Yeah. I don't even know where to start. Like, MCI Center, salute. What do y'all want to talk about? You want to talk about Rumble Weekend? You want to talk about Otaku? You want to talk about what's coming up? I don't know. Anything else? Super Bowl predictions, Ant-Man, NBA trades. What are y'all thinking about, man? What's on your agenda? You can play it however you want to play it. Let's talk about all of it. I mean, for sure. Thank you, sweetheart. I didn't even know you had red wine. Okay. All right. Cool. Okay. Oh, that is tasty. Yeah, just, y'all say where you want to start, and we'll start, and we'll go from there, man. I guess really we can talk about what's on the screen right now. So Nick Perkins from Bodyslam.net hit me. It was probably a month and a half ago, or like 2 months ago. I think I told y'all the biggest thing that's changed since I started working for The Ringer. I spent like so many years trying to get I didn't get a new set McIntyre. Nah, we it's just the cameras arranged differently and like just stuff's in the background. But no, thank you, man. It's appreciated. Thank you for taking your time out to check out what I have going on. It's really is. Hey, okay. She's been drinking more wine than I have, apparently. Okay, all right. This might not be a long stream. The biggest difference has been people have been coming to me with ideas. Like I spent so many years I'm good sensory dicked, but thank you. I spent so many years photoshopping this, producing that, bringing ideas to people. Hey, here's a graphic for a show, and just doing all that kind of stuff. And now people are bringing ideas to me, and like I'm getting messages and emails about different stuff they want me to be a part of. So it's been really cool. So Nick hit me and was like, "Hey, I don't really know you, but I think I like the stuff that you do. I think it would be a cool idea to do like a DX retrospective podcast. Would you be interested?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah! Like that's really cool." What I like about it, everybody is doing, you know, review the Week in Wrestling podcast. Everybody has that. And there's some really good ones out there. But I don't feel like me doing that right now would really be. It doesn't really fit with the other stuff I have going on. You know what I mean? Like, we got guys at The Ringer doing that. Whatever website you subscribe to, whether it's Fightful, PW Torch, even Body Slam, Wrestling Observer, whoever you listen to, they got a bunch of guys and gals doing that specifically. So when he brought me this idea, I was like, no, this is a chance for me to do something different. So we have been talking about it. A few things happened over at Body Slam. Won't get into specifics, but he was like, yo, I hope you still want to do the show. And I was like, yeah, like, of course I still want to do the show. Like, we might have to push it back a little bit, let some things blow over. But no, it was fun. Nick is super on top of it. He has a script written out, and he gives me the bullet points and what shows I need to watch and what he's going to talk about, so I don't get on looking dumb. You know what I mean? What's good, Trav? So, yeah, man, it's been really fun. This first episode was really, really cool. Nick is, like, super nervous. Are people going to like it? What if they don't like it? I'm like, dude, like, I like it, and you like it, and that's all that matters, man. It's really fun to see his enthusiasm. Like, look at him. Chill out. But look at him, man. He put on his suit. You know, he got the White Ranger helmet in the back. Like, I love his enthusiasm, how interested he is in the subject, and it really comes through when he's talking. So we don't know if it's going to be a weekly thing or a bi-weekly thing because it's a finite show. You know what I mean? Like, it literally has an end to it as far as DX goes. So I kind of push the idea, let's do it every 2 weeks, like give a chance for it to really marinate. But yeah, man, I had a really good time. I really appreciate Nick for asking me to be on. I didn't even share this in the group chat. I'm gonna put it in the group chat so Trav can see it. This is, again, guys, I don't even really know how to explain what's been happening with me. Like, it's a whirlwind, dude. It's really nuts, all the things that are happening. So this was really fun. So Royal Rumble weekend. I went to San Antonio the week. Hi, Jacob. How are you? I went to San Antonio the week before the Royal Rumble. It was my man's girlfriend's birthday, and I actually grew up with her. So they had like a brunch. I said, hey, I'll take all my stuff. I'll work from home in San Antonio for the other job. And, I'll go to the Rumble. So I kept having to, like, try to get in touch with different people at WWE to get press passes. I finally get to the right guy, and he was really nice. He was like, okay, so do you want a seat in the box or do you want a seat on the floor? And I was like, well, if you can get me one on the floor, that would be great. Because then whatever section it's in, I'll buy a ticket for my girl, and so we can both go. He was like, man, I'll get you two. Don't worry about it. I was like, all right, cool. So this is like Wednesday. I'm just waiting for Saturday, right? It should hurt. I enjoy your pain. Nah, it's love. I hope you're well. Yeah, it's Wednesday. I'm just waiting on Saturday to show up. I get an email from WWE Communications, and it's the itinerary for the weekend. And the first thing is Be a Star event at the Boys and Girls Club. So I hit my boss, and I was like, hey, There's this thing with WWE Media. Would you mind if I dipped out early on Thursday to go to it? She was like, yeah, cool. Just make sure you take care of X, Y, and Z. And she's been super supportive of my media stuff on the wrestling side. So I go to the Be a Star event. It's great, man. Sarah Schreiber from WWE hosts it. She's great. Like, she's really, really good at emceeing. So it's her, it's Titus, it's the Street Profits, it's Dewdrop, it's Liv, and it's Bianca. So I get there, and Denise Salcedo from Fightful's there, and my homegirl Issa, NYC Demon Diva from Lucha Online is there. So, you know, me and Issa are tight. So we're kicking it, show, you know, taking videos. She's doing interviews. I'm recording behind her and Denise and everybody. Talked to Tez and Dawkins. They remember me from Wale Mania. We were all kicking it. I got to tell Dawkins how much Dax Harwood thinks of him. That really came up. I need off to go bully kids. Yeah. What? You threw me off, Trav. Oh, yeah. How much Dax Harwood really appreciates Dawkins. He spoke really highly of him when we interviewed him. And then, you know, Titus, I know him from social media. So, yeah, everybody kicked it. It was great. So I get home from that. And then, like, next morning, Friday morning, I check my email again. And it's the guy from PR. His name's Greg Domino. He's like the VP of Communications for WWE. He was like, hey, Cam, love your Twitter. Because, you know, yeah, that's what happens. Love your Twitter. Would you like to come to our WWE NIL dinner? And I was like, of course. Like, and I figure it's like a banquet thing, right? I'm like, of course I'd love to go. You know, he's like, okay, you know, just let me know who you want to bring. So, you know, I got the +1 for my girl. So it's downtown San Antonio. We get to the restaurant, right? And there's nobody there. It's empty. There's a guy at the front door, and he's like, are you with WWE? We were like, yeah. He's like, okay, follow me. So he takes me through like this dark restaurant where only like the bathroom and the staircase is lit. We go down the staircase to the wine cellar, and it's like 10 people in the whole room, right? It's like 3 or 4 waiters, Big E, Omos, Bianca, and a couple of people from the San Antonio Express News. So, you know, we walk downstairs, like, I'm trying to be cool about it. Big E was like, yo, Seahawk, what's up? I was like, oh, shit, okay. And I've like, never talked to Big E, but we got a bunch of friends in common, right? So I was like, yeah, what's up? And then he looks at Rose, and he's like, you're Danny Trejo's cousin, right? And so I was like, oh, okay. He, like, knows me. It's cool. So then Omos, he introduces himself. I'm like, yo, I remember you from Wale Mania. Remember when you came off stage after rapping PSA? He was like, oh, yeah, okay. And he was like, man, I didn't think that would take off like that. So it was like a really cool conversation. And so I'm talking to E, catching up on, you know, stuff that's going on with him. I'm talking to Omos about, you know, Saudi and going to the Middle East, and, you know, he's like talking. And so I'm trying not to be like rude. You know what I mean? I was like, well, I don't want to keep you, man. Because he's like, dog, we're talking, like, it's cool. And so we just talk it up for like 15 minutes. They keep coming by with like trays of margaritas and trays of wine. And E and Omos aren't drinking because, you know, they got other events. Like, Omos is in the Rumble the next day. So, like, me and Rose looking like assholes, drinking all the damn margaritas and the wine. But next thing you know, a bunch of people come downstairs, and it's the NIL kids. And there's like 6 of them. They were all really nice. So they're like, okay, if everybody can take their seats. So at our table, it's Greg Domino, it's James Kingman, who is the VP of personnel. It's Rose, it's me, it's this kid Turner Washington, who does track and field at Arizona State. Next to him, a young lady named Allie Maddox, who is a cheerleader at Ole Miss, and Bianca. That's the whole table, right? And next table, it's Omos and some NIL kids. The far table is E and some NIL kids. And man, we just chopped it up all night, you know. Omos and Bianca, they told stories about you know, being in college, you know, why they ended up not going pro for different reasons. You know, mostly like injury related stuff, or like with Bianca, you know, you do the track and field thing that has a shelf life. You know what I mean? So it was really fun, and the kids asked a bunch of questions. They kind of explained, them being the James and Greg, what their plans were, and James was like in UFC personnel development for like 10 years. So you know, he got the square jaw and the real serious face. So yeah, man, it was great. You know, we got to sit at the table with Bianca. I got to really interject on a lot of different stories, and really give our 2 cents, like as a fan, as somebody who watches. So, you know, like I don't know if they brought me there for that, but I ended up, you know, I'm hyping up Bianca and what she's done, and how, you know, Shayna was a great partner for her, and stuff like that. And so it was really fun, man. Like, really cool talking to everybody, getting the kids' perspective. You know, I really like built like a camaraderie with Turner. Like him and I like talk on Instagram now. Yeah, it was just a dope event, and I think that probably the reason that they had me at that table was because they're familiar with the way that I write. Like they're, you know, they read the stuff on Carmelo and how it's kind of a college to pro thing, going from like NXT to WWE. And it's so cool. Let me tell you how cool it is. So we write the thing, we take a bunch of pictures. The funniest part,
his bracelet. If anybody wants to buy the bracelet that Cameron Hawkins wore,
is that from that night?
No, I just.
Oh, okay. You just found it.
But I do also have the tissue that he blew into.
Oh, I'm happy, McFarty. I'm glad I can help out for sure. The coolest thing was, so the night's winding down. We done taken all the pictures. You know, I'm trying to steal wine bottles. I told Omos I was going to take his dessert. It was really cool. Me and Big E, we stepped away for like 15 minutes just to talk about, you know, his career trajectory, you know, what's coming up. He showed me the music video that they have for Our Heroes Rock, the cartoon he's working on. They got a music video with Rhapsody. It's really, really cool. I might have cried, but that was really cool. Like, we're, you know, friend adjacent, I guess, but there's that communication. That was really, really fun. But we're leaving, right? So me and Rose have reservations at this rooftop bar like 10 minutes away. And when we walk outside, again, nobody's supposed to know this thing is happening. We walk outside and there's like 20 fans outside waiting with their phones out. And yeah, Rose is laughing from the other room. We look at them, they look at us, I look at Rose, and I tell them, I was like, guys, I said, baby, they think we're somebody. Everybody starts laughing. I was like, guys, please, like, don't waste your battery on us. We're nobody. And somebody was like, well, who's in there? I was like, you're not messing up my money. I'm not going to tell you who's in there. So we dip off, and of course, a couple of days later, I end up writing the NIL article. They really, really like it. I'll tell you how much they like it in a second. So that's Friday. The Rumble's the next day. We get there about 5 o'clock, get to the press box, and it's, you know, we're sitting next to Dave LaGreca from Busted Open. Sean Ross Sapp right there in the row. Denise is in the row. My man Brian from PW Torch is behind us. Issa's behind us. Ella J is sitting right behind us. Baby, what's the blonde girl's name? Was it Emma? Okay. Sam Roberts. Sam Roberts is there, and he's talking to Sean. And Sean is like, hey, do you know Cam? Sam says, no, I don't know him, but I know him from Twitter. I like the Twitter. And I was like, oh, here we go. And then the whole 2K team who's working on 2K23 was there. My man Brian Waters from The Ringer, who does the Ringer podcast, he's there. Patricia, homegirl Queen PR, is there with him. She asked a question at the presser, and then from 2K, my man Cornell Gunther, who was with WWE, comes up to me, and he's like, "Yo, Cam, I just want to say, like, congratulations. I love the work you've been doing." I was like, "Oh man, thank you. I'm trying to get like you." He's like, stop. Just listen to me. I'm being very serious. What you're doing is dope. Like, let's not make light of that." So it was great, man. It really was. Really enjoyed sitting there with them. My man Keith, gosh, I forget Keith's last name, but he's written a bunch of wrestling books. I was sitting next to him the whole time, and he's asking me about what's going on in the show as he's typing. That was really cool. We go to the presser. If you watch the presser, you saw the back of my head the whole time in that hoodie right there. Shout out to the wrestling club. Definitely wore the hoodie. Wanted to show love to the kids and my man Vic Perry. Yeah, really, really fun night. Put me in 2K24. All right. Really, really fun night. I'll tell you what's really cool, man. One of the people that they brought was one of their up-and-coming streamers. And it's a trans woman. A tall, glamorous. I'll say the word glamorous. Tall, glamorous trans woman. They introduced us to her. And they're like, yo, like, this community wants to be very inclusive. This community is growing. We want to make sure everybody feels welcome. And she was really, really sweet. Was really glad to be there. So it was really cool. So shout out to 2K, man. I like the stuff that they're doing. I wish they'd go back to the Sim version from 2019. That's my game. But yeah, it was really, really fun. So okay, we do all that. I write the NIL article. I ended up interviewing James again from his office, and his office is like so fucking official. I think I have it on the other computer, so it's not on this one, so you can't see it. But yeah, man, it was really dope. Talking to him, getting cleaned up on a couple of things. We did the article. They actually hit me to fix a couple of things, like their class and a video, but it was really great communication. So people really liked the NIL stuff. You know, I'm a college sports buff, so this is right up my alley. I love seeing things from the beginning. Like, I love before they were superstars. So to get to be maybe in on the ground floor of some of this is really, really cool. Shout out to J Ray, get your money. So, okay. Write the article. Article comes out. I get an email from WWE. Hey, Cam. Just so you know, our new season of biographies coming out. And this week, I have some time with Jake the Snake Roberts. If you'd like to interview him. Fuck yeah, I want to interview Jake the Snake, right? Jake the Snake. Of course I want to talk to Jake the Snake, right? Well, it's not coming out this week. Let me tell you about that. the NIL, you can read the NIL article. Jake the Snake won't be out for a little while. But no, I'm not talking to Jake the Snake for like a half hour. So what was really cool, we jump on the Zoom, right? Jake's already on there, but it's just me and Jake, and I see Greg's name. Then two other names hop on, and they're producers at A&E. And so then James gets on, and he's like, "Hey, hey Jake, thanks for joining us." And Ellen and I forget the other lady's name, but he's like, "Hey, this is Cameron Hawkins. He's a writer for The Ringer." And he has a very unique perspective and a way to be descriptive about like our talent and events. So I really wanted him to talk to Jake. So I want to introduce him. I was like, fuck. This is so fucking cool, right? So I talked to Jake, have a great conversation. And really, I mean, you'll see it. But what was important to me was to talk about addiction and to talk about recovery and the role that played in his life. Because anybody can tell you about a suplex. Anybody can tell you about a pay-per-view. But like, I want to tell you all about people. Like, people are what's interesting to me. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, it was great. And I'm talking to DDP next week. Both of those will be out probably in 2 weeks, because that's when the show premieres, and so they'll probably be out right then. But yeah, man, it was crazy. It was crazy. Let me tell you how crazy it is, though. That's not the craziest part of all this. Okay? I want to read you something. This is fucking nuts. Hi, Cameron. I'm on the editorial team of Voyage San Antonio magazine, and we're interviewing local entrepreneurs, creatives, and community leaders for our Inspiring Stories series. Please let me know if you're available for an interview in the coming weeks. We're excited to learn more about you and share your story with our readers. What? What? What is going on? I don't know. This shit is crazy, man. I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he, my man Squints, who he has a podcast right now. You can see it weekly on YouTube. Primarily he's doing like wrestling interviews right now, right? And he hit me, and it was basically like, yo, do you ever feel like, you're just like treading water, or you're not like all there, what you're doing isn't working? I was like, every fucking week, Squints. I immediately was like, dog, what's your number? I'm calling you. Every week. And like, Trav can tell you this about me specifically. I'm never fucking satisfied. I'm always next thing, because I think the last thing wasn't good enough, and I think everybody's gonna hate it, and I always think that, right? That's why I love Cal. Cal, my editor. Every time I send him something, I'm 100% sure he's gonna shit on it, and he never does. And like, even if it's something he's gonna shit on, we find a way to work around it, right? But yeah, it's all up right now. But like I told him, it's up because I worked my ass off for like 15 years. Like, that's why it's up. It's up because it was a lot of work. So that kind of takes me to the next thing. Let's transition. Let's talk about your man.
You be driving me fucking up a wall. A degree and a career, and I had to stay in the house, so I couldn't spend money on no drink or these women for like a year. So all of a sudden I had some money. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's only so much we can control. But again, what can you control? You can control shutting the fuck up about some things. You get this fucking money, man. I'm telling you, you driving me fucking up a wall. It's like you said, like even asking me about struggling with weight. Like, I know where that comes from, right? Because like, you don't want motherfuckers talking about you about things that like you may deal with, you may struggle with, right? Yeah. Like you don't want that. No. And so, but again, like it ain't cheap to eat healthy. Like that.
No, it is not.
Like,
no, it is not.
I always tell people, they built a new.
Ask questions, answer questions, answer that sort of thing. Let me just hit the chat real quick because I don't want to.
Like, take me and you for example.
Involving him was probably that one, the last one that I did a review of the final SmackDown.
So let's talk about the Wrestling Otaku, man. Let's talk about my little brother, Wrestling Otaku. Yeah, I think anybody who thought he was going to be a different person overnight was not being realistic, right? Just let's talk about my man. I thought he was finna drop one.
Yo!
I thought he was finna rap.
Listen! Yo! Check it! So this ain't gonna be a freestyle special little video here, courtesy of the Wrestling Otaku. your personification of excellence on YouTube in the IWC, Kingpin the Old Dog, and I'm bringing back a special burial video series, one that I call the Bitch List. So for today's inaugural edition, I'm here to call out a certain somebody who I guess considers himself a commentary channel. I guess this guy thinks he's a big deal, but today he's about to be cut down to size. So Jake Doolittle, what up, homie? Seems like you got a problem with the rest of the otaku. You got a problem with my requirements video. Which, by the way, as I've stated multiple times, is a joke video. I'm not being serious, you dumb fuck. But Jake Doolittle, let me tell you something, you weak-ass, pasty-faced, suburban-living fucking white boy, looking like something straight out the Disney Channel with your goofy ass glasses and your lame-ass fucking third-grade haircut. You want to have a problem with the rest of the otaku, right? Well, I'll tell you one thing. You and that ugly-ass trick girlfriend of yours who was in the video, y'all both can do yourselves a favor and check yourself before you wreck yourself, before I straight up clock your dumb ass and have you both sucking on that otaku D, motherfucker. Because I know damn well, Jake Doolittle, you damn sure ain't gonna say none of this to my face. And in fact, I even left a comment on your little bitch-ass video on your lame-ass channel, and you had no reply. Typical bitch behavior. But there you go. So quite frankly, that's all I gotta say on this fucking weak white boy, and I don't even have to fucking go in a full burial. I don't even have to go in full burial mode. But Jake Doolittle, just want to leave you with this. You ought to be honored. You ought to be blessed. Because you have officially joined a very exclusive club, a very exclusive list. Here today, here tonight, courtesy of the rest of otaku. You want to be famous? I just made you famous, to quote The Undertaker. So Jake Doolittle, right here, right now, you have officially been put on the bitch list because you, sir, are definitely a biatch.
Yeah.
Mic drop
Somebody say you
on
black,
this
like, oh,
motherfucker.
I can see it.
Can't nobody do it like W.O. Baby does it. So that's all I gotta say for this video. Thanks for watching. Clowned another fool. More clownings to come. Rest of otaku, I'm out. See you haters later. Fuck Logan Paul too.
Why? Hold on. I gotta find Jake Doolittle though. Cause I haven't watched it. Who is Jake Doolittle? Oh, that's Jake Doolittle. Oh man.
Hi sisters, it's Jake here. I'm back with another video. Subscribe, please. I'm like so close to 200,000 subscribers that it's like barely discernible. New setup. I know that you all love it when I change setups, but I think that this is the consistent setup for quite a long time. I'm back in my apartment in Maine with Hannah. It's amazing. I'm no longer at my childhood home, which was nice, but sometimes, you know, you get a little stir crazy when you're just around your cat with a thyroid problem, constantly throwing up and dragging its ass on the ground. You know, sometimes a change of pace is nice. Today we're going to be talking about a YouTuber named Wrestling Otaku. Now, I don't know what otaku is. Actually, I probably should look it up before I say anything. Otaku, a young person who is obsessed with computers or particular aspects of pop culture to...
He let a white nigga from Maine do this? Oh no. Hold up, yeah. When does this old lady come in?
Yeah, why not?
Pull up a chair.
Here today, I wanted to talk about dating, relationships in general, and obviously, it relates to that. I'm going to be talking about women. All right, so I've made it known that I'm not in the dating scene anymore, and I have my reasons for not being in the dating scene anymore, valid reasons. Most of the reason, well, one of the biggest reasons is, well, just like I've said multiple times, I made videos about this. There's a number of videos. One of my most watched, most viewed videos that I ever uploaded on this channel was a video talking about this.
Okay.
And that is the fact that women this generation just ain't worth it.
Ah,
Kind of fact.
darn it. I was on his side up until he said that.
The dating scene, man.
Well, he gave up on the dating scene. That makes sense.
Yeah, because of the women of this generation.
Aren't worth it.
We're kind of terrible.
No, I agree. It makes sense. But like also I'm thinking, how much experience has he had dating?
Good question. I'd like to know what qualifies him to give this advice.
That would be like me giving advice on dating.
That's really white. That's really white. Oh. Yeah, I see why he got mad. Okay. Yeah. Whew. I would have taken it personally. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know, man. I think we had a good conversation. I think, seriously, and I hope people understood. You know, when I said I was gonna do this with him, I got like some nasty fucking anonymous messages, which is just like, you're platforming a misogynist, and I hope you're getting your kicks. And I'm like, we're real people. You know what I mean? Like, we're real people. I deal with people in real life who ain't perfect, who have ideals that I don't go along with, but it doesn't make them less than people. You know, I think that, especially with the Wrestling Otaku, I kind of picked up on that. You know, so a lot of these ideas are probably formed from things he saw and not things he experienced. You know what I mean? So, I wanted to talk to him. And specifically, I really wanted him to understand, like, there are people on Twitter who, after like the presser, these people aren't journalists, they're fans with credentials, like some hating ass shit, because the people who were saying it are not people who would have turned down being in that room. You know what I mean? Like, you saw what it was when it happened. In real time, you saw what was going on. But for me, getting to be in that room, and you know me, like, I'm not no dick eater. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to hear my opinions on AEW, on WWE. Now, one thing that changed as I got older, I started to look at the people who would talk crazy and saw like the attention that would get them and how they carry themselves. And I'm like, maybe I should temper my specific opinions a bit, and they should be more rooted in how I feel, not trying to get somebody to react. And that's changed. You know what I mean? So being in that room in that press box with people who were accomplished, being in that presser with people who were accomplished, with people who run their own websites, have their own businesses, people who have written books, like, that was a big deal for me. To me, that meant that my hard work was being realized. And so, months ago, Otaku finally got under my skin with that video about so-called journalists and these people don't love wrestling and why do they get to do this? And I told him, I was like, dude, like, there are things that you have to clean up about your act if this is what you want, if this is what you think you deserve. You can't be talking about which wrestlers you want to fuck. Like, you can't do that. Like, you can't do it as a man, specifically as a black man also, and in media. Like, I do think that there are, like, women in wrestling media get to be a bit looser with how they talk about the male wrestlers. And I don't know why. I don't make the rules. That's what it is. But you can't be wrestling media guy talking about how you want to have sex with the wrestlers. You can't. You just can't do that. So there was that, you know, I was like, yo, you can't be running around talking about Roman Reigns sucks and John Cena sucks. Like, you shitting on their biggest acts. They're not gonna want you in that room, you know? Like, can you personally not like what they do? Sure. Like, I've expressed what I don't like in AEW, what I don't like, and who I don't like in WWE, but not in a way that's tearing down them as people or their character. Like, it's very well known I don't rock with The Undertaker. They make a bunch of money off The Undertaker. They're in the Undertaker business. But the way I feel doesn't interfere with doing business, you know, because he is who he is. I feel how I feel, and we can keep going. Like, they know how I feel about Jerry Lawler, you know, but that doesn't need to be a hindrance, you know, like, because one, I ain't the only one who feel that way, right? But, you know, that can just be. But you can't be on your damn, yeah, you feel me? Like, you can't be on public tirades against talent and expect to do that. Like, I thought it was super dope, and I told him, don't let nobody take away from you that you were on that Vince doc. Like, I was happy for you. I was excited for you. But my thing was, where do you go from here? What do you do? You know? I told him about, you know, me making the conscious effort to get Invisalign during the pandemic because I knew I was going to be on screen more. You know? Like, I told him, you know, you might never be a skinny dude, but it would help you aesthetically. Like, I don't make that decision. I'm not saying you gotta be no in shape dude, but if you want to be more appealing to a visual audience, that's something that helps. That's one less thing that YouTube can say bad about you. You know what I mean? I got Tone, you get in the channel about wrestling, you know the game. Yeah, exactly. Like your approach has to be concrete and specific. So yeah, we had a really good conversation, and you know, I think the biggest thing was he knows he has me as a resource, you know, because listen, Wade Keller absolutely gave me a look that a lot of people don't have, like being at the Torch, right? But I went and got it on my own. Like, 9 out of 10 people who know about the stuff I do have no idea that I was a part of Pro Wrestling Torch. A lot of them had no idea I had a weekly show, the East Coast Cast. They knew about Twitter and some writing, and that was it, you know? So that was a lot of work that I put in. And he works hard. You know, keeping that YouTube schedule is tough. Coming up with new content is tough. He absolutely does work hard, but it's also working smart. You know, I watched Denise Salcedo and Issa. I watched them hustle Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Denise was so about it, like, Denise wouldn't let me help her carry her stuff. Denise is like 4'10", 110 pounds, soaking wet, with boots on, and a top hat. And she was like, no, thank you. Like, it was really nice about it. She's like, no, it's really no problem. I got it. She was carrying them stands and them mics and them cameras. She was hustling, you know? So when people are on the outside looking in about, you know, who does Denise think she is and blah, 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 and talking that good shit, like, that's all cool, but you not working hard like she's working, because I see what she does. You tweeting. She putting in work. So, yeah, I think that he is a shy guy. I think he's a nice guy. Like, I genuinely do. I just think that this internet shit, it pollutes your brain if you don't have the outlet. And I'm blessed to have friends that I've known since I was a kid, who I'm still tight with to this day, who are career men and fathers and sons, and that's, you know, the immediate circle. You know, I'm also around like professional women who are doing great things, but I get that experience of people and contemporaries, so I don't feel like I have these views of the world that are built on these platitudes and extremes, and so I kind of try to work through that with him. You know, and it's a process, man. It's not going to be an overnight thing, but in another universe somewhere, I'm Cam the nerd YouTuber. You know, I thought it was really sweet that he asked me about struggling with my weight. I thought that was really sweet because that's somebody who clearly understands that, like, he's pursuing an aesthetic business and, you know, wants to know if there are steps he can take to improve. Again, this is not me saying you got to be skinny to get money on the internet, but, you know, being healthier can help just in general. So, you know, it's going to be a working process. Believe it or not, you know, I'm a Christian man with Christian values, and I believe that most people can be saved. And so we are trying to help my black brother along his path, because I think it would be dope to see him clean up his act and refine his act and really get some of this money, because getting money on YouTube is tough. Like, he got 3,000 subscribers, and I think that at least on a 50-50 split, somebody who does as much work as he does should be able to, like, support himself financially off of this, right? So we'll see. We'll see. It reminds you of a cousin's almost 30 hasn't done anything. Man, I know a bunch of people who 30 ain't done shit. And it's easier than you think to end up 30 and realize you ain't done shit. Well, hey, listen. Every Sunday, I definitely am at the altar. Sometimes the altar is a bar, but I'm there. But yeah, you know, we gonna try to make that work for him, man. Yeah, that's what's going on. If y'all ain't been watching, y'all need to fuck with that BMF. BMF is great. Last of Us. Oh god. Yeah. It and Tone, listen, man. Twitch has been good to me, but that's really over the last year and a half. I just now started getting some bread, baby. You know, I'm just now. Can I get a little bit more, sweetheart? What are you laughing about? You good? Did you hit your leg?
The water was just really good.
Oh, just had some great water. Okay. If I can get a little bit more, please.
Yeah, hold on.
Are you bringing the bottle? Oh, it's like, yo, what are you doing? Snowfall coming back. Abbott Elementary is smoking it.
Woo!
Yeah, man, you know, a lot of good shit happening right now. Thank you so much.
I'm so proud of Ava.
Ava, the principal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she's
out here
called-
getting her education on.
Oh, yeah, she went. Oh, yeah, you right. But yeah, like I said, WrestleMania weekend. Wale Mania info went up. If y'all are gonna be out there, holla at me. Let's get a drink. Let's take some pictures. You know what I'm saying? I introduce you to your favorite wrestler. That'll be fun. I'm trying to do two things. Number one, I want to do something the Wednesday of that week. I'm trying to put together like a small, intimate thing with a couple of wrestlers. Somewhere between 25 and 50 people. Just a real cool group. Not like a big event. Just something light. You know, get in there, ask some questions, have some fun. I told WWE, so with AEW, because they don't have monthly pay-per-views, and even like All Out has not been established as their WrestleMania, we can kind of work out a schedule where, you know, I can talk to somebody and then bring it. So I'm probably going to have a new article coming out with AEW, if not this coming week, the week after. We did a really cool thing. I can tell y'all, what am I talking about? With Mark Sterling. There's a really, really cool story. I don't always want to talk to person in main event. You know what I mean? Like, it was an idea brought to me from AEW about him, and I think we can really tell something cool. You never been outside of your state and don't know anybody? Oh yeah. I mean, you got to get out of there sometime. You know, you're not gonna always kick it. Like, I'm around. I would take you to the things I want to go to. Now, the illegality you may want to step outside for, but we can always do that, man. It's love, But the Mark Sterling thing is coming. There's a wrestling school, a prominent wrestling school that actually signed a streaming deal with one of these networks. I talked to their head coach, their head trainer, so we got something coming out there. I'm gonna reach out to WWE this week about the person I want to talk to for Mania. If you've been listening, you probably have a really good idea, but I don't think their story's been told like in long form the way I think people should hear it. And so I really want to make that happen before Mania. It's the, Sting's the white whale, right? You can't really get past that, but we'll talk about it for sure. But that's what's coming there. I'm busy, man. I'm busy. 2 jobs, but I'm good busy. I think everything's going how it's supposed to go. I had a dinner Monday with a lady who is a consultant in LA. We went to dinner. We talked about the things I'm working on, the things I'm doing, and the biggest thing she told me was to be less humble. I don't know how to take that. My instinct is to be gracious because this can all just be gone tomorrow. It can all disappear. And I am focused on using what I got. I want to put everybody else on, man. I want an Otaku to do well. I want a Squints to do well. McFarty, you and I talk via email. I want you to do well, man. I want to pay this thing forward, man. I'm 37. 10 years from now, it's not gonna be talking about me and wrestling. That's not gonna exist. And so while I'm here, I want to push it, but I'm gonna let my nuts hang a little bit, man. If everybody's telling you should be more upfront about the things you're doing, maybe they're right. So, we're going to try to do that a little bit more. And I keep saying we. Today is the 2-year anniversary of my best friend passing away. And my biggest thing is, he never really got to see this all come to fruition, but if anybody knew it was going to happen, it was him. My biggest supporter would help me with stuff, even if he wasn't interested. And I know he's seeing all this from where he is. And so it makes me feel good about it. Like, one thing the lady told me Monday, she's like, I noticed how often you say we. And I was like, that's all about him. Like, this is our thing together, and we are a team. And as much as there's Cameron, there's South Congress. There's Cameron and Peanut. So I'm pushing this thing as far as I can. Guys, we'll find another time to talk about everything. If you make me pick a team for tomorrow, I got to go with Kansas City. I think the Eagles are stacked, but Pat Mahomes is a one of one. And I think when you're a one of one, you do one of one things. I'd love to see Jalen Hurts win it, though, just as a guy who was basically the man and got benched, and you didn't know if he was going to make it in the league. I would love to see him, win a Super Bowl. Black quarterbacks both ways. So that's going to be great. But yeah, we'll get on here. We'll talk. I think I'm going to really go back to StreamYard so we can do some stuff. I'm going to keep y'all in the loop. I love that. Would it be great to have 400 or 500 people in a room? Sure. But I love kind of telling you guys what's coming, because everybody else is super surprised, but you guys have an idea of what's coming up. So yeah. I'm gonna go find that lady in that black outfit. You guys have a great night. Cam Tackles Twitch, 2/11/23. It is 11:23 p.m. in Austin, Texas.